Hold up, can we stop and pause for a second? I was hearing the news about Robert Downey Jr. Yes, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. was wearing blackface. Now for everybody that got offended by this or was wondering if this was offensive, I would give you a rule of thumb. Let the person that should be offended by something be the first one to initiate saying they take this offensive. Because when a person say they offended by something or they say this should be offensive to a certain group, they should be the ones to initiate it. With that being said, we about to go diving and see if we should be offended if Robert Downey Jr. feels like about Tropical Thunder and him wearing blackface. What is your boy Triple Cup Chuck, and let's do this. Whoa, what's good with your YouTube and YouTube busted? Your boy Triple Cup Chuck, and I'm up. And appreciate you for coming rock with me, like, sharing, and subscribing. And if you have an opinion about the situation that's going on, leave a comment below. I'm gonna read it, because when you comment, our collective minds put together, we bring synergy. This how we starting the video off? Double cup, feel it right. Told Chuck, I feel like every night is all night. Hey, just to give you a heads up, this is going to be one of them videos where we give our opinion while we watch the Joe Rogan Experience, specifically Robert Downey Jr. outtake on blackface.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Do you think that you could do Tropic Thunder today? Would that be possible?
Oh, you could do it.
Ain't that look up at your own risk?
And again, like Eddie, I look back to me. That movie to me was a circle back to my dad's movie called Putney Swope, which I highly recommend anyone who hasn't seen to see, about a black guy who takes over an ad agency in the 60s because everyone votes for him when the head of the company dies because they think no one else will. And it's about what happens when someone who is free-spirited takes over an essentially corrupt endeavor. And then he realizes and confronts his own corruption. But I remember I was probably 2 or 3 when that was being shot and when it came out, and it was so a part of my upbringing, and I just remembered some of the folks that were around my dad at that time. And
I got to give it to Robert Downey Jr. He sold the shit out of his Pop's movie.
So when Ben called and said, hey, I'm doing this thing, and I think maybe Sean Penn had passed on it or something like that, possibly wisely. And I thought, yeah, I'll do that, and I'll do that after Iron Man. And then I started thinking, this is a terrible idea. Wait a minute. And then I thought, well, hold on, dude. Get real here. Where is your heart? And my heart is, I get to be black for a summer in my mind.
Hey, you got to admit that's funny, and he make it sound cool.
So there's something in it for me. The other thing is I get to hold up to nature the insane self-involved hypocrisy of artists and what they think they're allowed to do on occasion. Just my opinion. And also Ben, who is a masterful artist and director, probably the closest thing to a Charlie Chaplin that I've experienced in my lifetime. He writes, he directs, he acts. If you had seen him when he was directing this movie, you would have been like, I'm watching David Lean, I'm watching Chaplin, I'm watching Coppola. He knew exactly what the vision for this was. He executed it. It was impossible to not have it be an offensive nightmare of a movie. And 90% of my black friends are like, dude, that was great.
Okay, with that, let me take a moment to try to explain something. A lot of times, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And how you say it has zero to do with the pronunciation. It's more about the heart and where it comes from. That's mostly what resonates to black people when you speaking. And some people might think something might be offensive, and it's not offensive. It depends on how you say it. And how you say it comes from the heart, not what you say, because what you say could just be some slick words. Let's continue. Go.
What about the other 10%?
I can't disagree with them, but I know where my heart was.
Yeah.
And I think that it's never an excuse to do something that is out of place and not of its time. But to me, it was just it was a blasting cap on. And by the way, I think White Chicks came out pretty soon after that. Yeah. And I was like, I love that. Yeah. I was like, that was great.
Yeah. Hey, you got to give it to Robert Downey Jr. because he basically saying if you're going to be offended, make sure it's not one way.
So,
Well, it might be the last time we see that, unless things change. It seems like no one can really. I don't think you could do blackface anymore. I mean, we almost lost the Prime Minister of Canada because he did brownface. He pretended to be Saudi Arabian, right?
Yeah.
He did Arabian Nights in high school or something like that.
If a person do blackface right now, this day, this era, they just want attention. And they deserve any punishment they get for being an idiot.
It's an interesting and necessary meditation on where is the pendulum. Why is the pendulum right?
Yeah.
Where is the pendulum maybe cutting a little into what could be perceived as heart in the right place, openness of its time. But again, I mean, there's a morality clause here on this planet, and it's a big price to pay. And I think having a moral psychology is job one. So sometimes you just got to go, I effed up. Again, not in my defense, but Tropic Thunder was about how wrong that is.
Yes.
So I take exception.
No, it's...
Okay, I get why people feel offended now, but basically what I'm hearing him saying, he was playing a role which called on a character to have specific traits to complete a role to give it a full effect. Nothing more, nothing less, but it was called for. It wasn't out of place. They have some roles where white people will play a prejudice role, but they don't have a prejudice bone in their body, but the role calls for that. That's all this was. So he should not feel no regret or mad about him playing a role, or he should be doing that. That's just basically out of my opinion right now. So let's go ahead and continue from what we're going to hear.
I think you could do it today. I think you could. I think it could be done today. There would be so much outrage, but there would also be people cheering. And if we boiled down all the bullshit and got to the actual result of what the film did, it's fucking hilarious. To this day, I watched it again about a year and a half ago. It's a great movie. It's a great, fun movie.
Yep.
I mean, it's ridiculous, over the top, hilarious. And it worked, and your portrayal. I mean, it wasn't egregious. It wasn't. It was necessary. It made sense. All of it fit. There's square pegs and square holes.
I was just thinking square. I don't know why I was thinking. Oh, I was thinking about Sarah Jessica Parker on the ride over here. Isn't that crazy? I think I drove by. Is it that Warner Park near here?
Yeah.
I think she went to school over there when she was doing a show. Anyway, interesting.
Yeah, it worked. But it might be the last time we'll ever see a studio take a chance on a guy wearing blackface and the prolific use of the word retard. Those are two things.
And by the way,
boy, I gotta get to Joe Rogan. He'll send you to the moon, man. But anyway, though, retarded is something that we say down here normally. You heard me? Retarded. Everybody say, yeah, I'm retarded. Dumb way, dumb. That's just normal. But I get it. Some people feel offended by shit. But here we go. Let's continue.
that's Ben. The funny thing too was all the heat got deflected to Ben and Simple Jack.
Yeah,
That's what people were pissed off about, and I go, "Woo, great." But you never know when it's going to be your time in the barrel. Sometimes life just says, you know what? And I've been on both sides of that coin. Sometimes life just says, you're a symbol now.
Did you have anybody that was telling you not to do it? Were there a bunch of agents or anyone who was like...
My mother was horrified.
Boy, I bet his mama was like, my boy gonna get his dumb ass killed playing around trying to play a blackface role.
Really?
Bobby, I'm telling you, I have a bad feeling about this. I was like, yeah, me too, Mom. But anyway, how are we?
First day on set when they're putting the makeup on you. How hard are you sweating?
There's been a couple times. I was all the night before, and we were on Kauai, and I was like, well, here we go. And I was just running. I think I had 6 lines that day. But I knew that there was going to be choppers, there was going to be squib fire, there was going to be choreography, there was going to be, it was going to be cacophonous. And the only thing that mattered to me, again, what's my action? My action as an actor in this movie is to know what I'm doing, even if what I'm doing is insane. So I ran those 6 or 8 lines I had 1,000 times, lying in bed over and 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 over again. So the next day, I was free to enjoy myself and not be struggling to wonder what it was I was supposed to be doing. And then that's what it is. It was just, it was one little mosaic after the next. And by the end of it, I had some pride that I had made it through. Forget that it was, blackface. It was special effects makeup day after day after day after day after day after day after day, except for the off times when I would have my bleached hair and blue contacts in my eyes or, other characters. And it was just it was a piece of work I was doing. And I cared about doing it as professionally and as honestly as I could.
I have a question for the comments down below. Do it count when Robert Downey Jr. wear blue eyes and blonde hair as whiteface?
So when you memorize lines, that's an interesting thing that you said, that you were free to do it. Like when you memorize lines, is there ever a part, like when you're acting, where you have to think, like, okay, what am I supposed to say next, and how much does that get in the way?
Look, I have a very broad band of tolerances. I don't care if the people I'm with happen to not know what they're doing or don't know their lines or stepping on my lines or whatever, or want to change their lines and my lines. And it's always a different thing. It's like reading the room. It's like, if I was a fighter, you go into the octagon and they go, you ready? You ready? And you go, and then you just
do it.
You go in. But so I've had it where I would try to be off book before everyone else. I would get it down to an acronym. So if there was 1,000 words I had to remember, I would just remember the first letter of each, and I would put it on a piece of poster board, and then I would stand away from it, not as far as you and your archery setup over there, but far enough away to where I can see it but kind of can't see it, back when my vision was a little more clear. And I would just run it and run it and run it. When I did the first Sherlock, we were rewriting it so much, and I would have pages and pages of stuff. I was like, give me an earwig. And it helped me with my accent. And then I started getting into like, what's so great? I can finish work, go home, hang out with my kids, or do whatever I want to do, go train. And in the morning, they can change it all they want. I don't have to trip unless it's some monologue that you want to really be committed to that's not going to shift. I just go like that.
So you'd put one of those little earpieces in and they would feed you the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I've kind of gone as far as you can go with that, and I'll probably go back to a new method or a new version of the old method.
So it's basically improvisational. Like you in the moment, like you decide with whatever preparation you're going to do for each role, how you're going to do it, whether you're going to go and memorize everything obsessively or whether you're just going to be a little bit more loose and free with it.
Yes. It depends on the script, too. Like Tropic Thunder, Justin Theroux wrote that script with Ben. It was a really good script. I mean, my missus, who next to my mother, was, probably more so, was the opinion I was really waiting on. And she was reading in the kitchen, laughing her ass off. She goes, "This is so wrong. This is so wrong." And she goes, "And it's so true.
Yeah.
If you do this right, you're doing something it's about a bunch of self-involved idiots somehow or other becoming heroes." And she goes, "I love that. If that's what it stays, then it's going to be good." And so, like for instance, the never go full
you don't
blah blah
want
blah.
to say it.
No. By the way, I guarantee you, I'm getting out of here. My stock is not plummeting when I leave here. I'm not smoking dope. I'm not doing a musk. I'm going to do everything right.
His stock went up the
Robert
next
Downey
day.
Jr., I'm sorry to let you know that you're a master at your craft, but you did not escape the Joe Rogan experience without any scrutiny and being meme free.
All right.
Drop 6 went up 9.
With who?
I don't know. I don't understand it.
I love that you now have it. Now it's a piece of art.
Yeah. With 6% in the smoke.
God bless his heart. Yeah, it just changes.
I know that's just my opinion, but my opinion must fit into the category of the 90% of the black people. And if you think or feel different, let's take some opinions for some more black people. Let's see what the Breakfast Club opinion and have to say about Robert Downey Jr. wearing blackface.
Did you guys know Robert Downey Jr. did wear blackface in the movie Tropic Thunder? And he recently went on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and he said that he doesn't regret doing that. Now, here was his initial thinking.
I thought, yeah, I'll do that, and I'll do that after Iron Man. And then I started thinking, this is a terrible idea. Wait a minute. And then I thought, well, hold on, dude. Get real here. Where is your heart? And my heart is, I get to be black for a summer in my mind. So there's something in it for me. The other thing is I get to hold up to nature the insane self-involved hypocrisy of artists and what they think they're allowed to do on occasion. Just my opinion.
I listened to that whole interview because I listened to Joe Rogan podcast, and I don't know if he should regret it. You know what I mean? It was a role that he chose to do. He knew exactly what he was doing. He made a choice. You know, I don't know if he should regret it.
Well, he goes on to say this.
90% of my black friends are like, dude, that was great.
What about the other 10%?
I can't disagree with them, but I know where my heart was. There's a morality clause here on this planet, and it's a big price to pay, and I think having a moral psychology is job one. So sometimes you just got to go, yeah, I effed up. Again, not in my defense, but Tropic Thunder was about how wrong that is.
Yes.
So I take exception.
So, yes, he's right. It did spark a conversation at the least, and it was about why it's inappropriate to be wearing blackface. So in order to do that, he had to wear his blackface.
Yeah, and I remember seeing Tropic Thunder back in the day. I didn't even know that he was playing a black person. I just thought he had a bad tan in the whole movie. I had no idea like he was supposed to be playing a black person.
Well, Matt, now he could play Kanye West.
He might. Damn, will Danny McBride have to wear blackface to play Kanye West?
No, I'm sure he won't. I'm sure he won't. All right, now, April Jones, she recently did an interview with Tiffany Pollard on Brunch with Tiffany, and she talks about a lot of different things, but she talks about some regrets that she has. Now, she's been accused of a lot of things, of people saying, oh, you slept with this person, that person, and she's just tired of it all. Here's what she had to say about the game and A$AP Rocky also.
I'm on my lives like normal, talking to my fans, and people are under there, oh, you the game.
Okay, enough of that shit. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me put some more funny stuff, though.
Michael Rubin donated $100,000 to Change for Change.
That's right. And Drum has the Sixers gear on as well. Drum, turn around, show the cheeks. Turn around and show the cheeks, Drum.
Show the cheeks,
Drum. Turn around and show the cheeks.
There you go.
They're the cheeks.
They're the cheeks.
You know what I'm saying? You got the Maurice Cheeks Sixers jersey on. You know what I mean? Had to get them to spin around and show them cheeks real quick.
That cheeks is nice.
Yeah, I like the cheeks on the back.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
He said, leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
But shout out to Michael Rubin, though.
Yep. Now, let's get to the rumors. Let's talk black.